Well, fentanyl is the most common drug involved in deadly overdoses.
According to the CDC, 107,375 people in the U.S. died of drug overdoses and drug poisonings last year. 67% of those were due to fentanyl.
Well, the FDA recently approved another tool to fight that issue, but we're showing you how a different drug is showing up in overdose cases and why local leaders are worried. The FDA's approval of over-the-counter Narcan is seen as a game changer in saving people from opioid overdose and fentanyl poisonings. But now there's a new curveball in the fight against addiction.
And there is a popular street drug now called Xylazine, that is being laced in many, many drugs and being put into drugs along with fentanyl. And Narcan will not work on that. And that is pretty alarming.
Xylazine, or tranq, is an animal sedative or tranquilizer and not an opioid.
It lowers your blood pressure. It stops your body's natural ability to gasp when you need air. So while Narcan can reverse that opioid and kick the opioid off your opioid receptors, it's not going to restore your blood pressure to a normal level.
Xylazine not only increases the risk of fatal drug poisoning, but it can cause other health problems, including ulcers and wounds. This year, the White House declared drugs laced with fentanyl and xylazine as an emerging threat in the U.S. The DEA says between 2020 and 2021, xylazine-positive overdose deaths increased, including by more than 500% in the Midwest.
I think the vast majority of people don't even know that it is in the drugs that they have. And a lot of times even the dealers that are dealing the drug won't even know that it is in there.
Here in Dane County, we saw 9 xylazine-related deaths in 2021. So far, there were 5 in 2022, but 70 other overdose deaths are still awaiting toxicology results. So Olson expects the number of xylazine-related deaths to grow.
It's not something you can tell just by looking at a drug. There are newly created xylazine test strips, but we don't have them available yet in Dane County.
If Narcan doesn't reverse xylazine, what can we do to fight it?
I think the biggest thing right now is public education, letting everybody know the dangers that are associated with this.
When it comes to fighting addiction, Kennecke, who founded Emily's Hope, a foundation that promotes addiction education and resources for treatment and recovery, says we need better access to more recovery programs.
They need to be able to get medically assisted treatment, and we just have to work more to keep people alive.
It really does touch everyone. And it's something that I think we need to have more conversations about so we can embrace people who are using drugs to try to help them live safe, healthy lives versus feeling like they're always being shunned or looked down upon.
That's scary. Olson says if you see anyone in active overdose, call EMS and administer Narcan.
And then if it appears that that person is having respiratory complications indicative of xylazine poisoning, she says start giving rescue breaths while you wait for first responders.
Every second counts at that point.
And police have told me that at this point, people should just assume that any type of drug that they are buying from the streets could be laced with fentanyl or xylazine now in this case. So
yeah, it's pretty common, it seems.